Hello and welcome back to my channel. For who is new, welcome and welcome to my little corner. This is where I paint my statues. Before we start, if you're new, I would really appreciate if you would subscribe, share my content as well, and leave a comment down below. I noticed that a lot of my viewers are from America, which I would like to send a big hello and thank you for following me and commenting on my videos. I really hope that you are enjoying your holidays and I hope you had a good year overall, and I'm hoping that for next year I would like to reach a bigger audience and a lot of more people around the globe. So it would help a lot if you would share my content and try to gain more followers so I can expand more and keep doing this and share more stuff with you in the future and much more. Onto this video. In this episode I painted Shiva from Final Fantasy VII, and a friend of mine told me about a competition that was being held, and I was like, okay, what the hell. So I entered, and since it had to be one of their specific models, I already knew that I was like, okay, I'm going to paint her this time. Sadly I didn't win. Being a painting competition, I really didn't understand the requirement. I knew that they would judge on certain things, but since it was being a painting competition, certain effects they would have appreciated more if they were hand painted instead of how I did it with just using metal paints and chrome paint. So unfortunately I painted it as a display model instead of a painted model for a competition, which are completely different things. But it doesn't mean that I can't make a video out of it and show it to you and show you how I painted it as well. So that being said, we have a lot to cover, so sit back, relax, go make a cup of coffee, and let's get started with the video. So let's start sending our pieces. Yes, this is my current state of my workshop. It's a mess, I know. Don't mind the bucket. So with the transparent pieces I started to do some wet sanding, because I was going to give them a clear gloss varnish after that, so they will be as transparent as possible. And after that we move to our regular pieces. As you see here, I was trimming off the excessive putty, because otherwise it will take me hours for it to sand off. Yeah, with this particular sander that I own, I have a very love-hate relationship, because sometimes it starts sanding and sometimes the piece starts falling off, which is a big pain in the butt. For the base, I printed the whole thing in clear resin and gave it a gloss varnish first. Then I added a layer of transparent white and started shading the crevices with a darker blue. This part involved a lot of trial and error. Whenever I didn't like something, I'd wipe it off with some thinner and try again. I wanted variation in the base, different tones, transparency, and subtle color shifts. From the beginning I knew I wanted a marble effect on this base. It's something I've always wanted to try, but I never really had the chance to, so this is my take on it. If you've never done this before, grab a wet wipe and leave it out to dry. Once it's dried, stretch the fabric until you get a lot of separation, then lightly splay your color over it. One important thing, make sure your airbrush is clean. If it's clogged, the results won't be pretty. If you have a clog, this will be your outcome. Once the base was finished, I wanted to push the detail even further. Since this was for a painting competition, I really wanted to go all out on it. I added some edge highlights to help the edges pop more. After that, I used some synthetic ice mixed with PVA glue and dabbed it around the base. Once it's dried, I added a clear varnish and sprinkled a bit more on top so some of it would shine through. If you use this technique, always put a piece of paper underneath. You can collect the fallout and reuse it for later.
If you notice these white patches here, that usually means the initial sanding wasn't done properly. Sometimes support marks only show up after the first coat of primer. It happens. When that does, just resand and reapply the primer. To fix the gaps, I used Milliput as usual. On the opposite part of the body, I applied a bit of Vaseline first so the Milliput wouldn't stick. Once it's dried, I could separate the parts easily and continue working. Next up, some zenithal highlights. Then I had to deal with the chain. Anyone who does 3D printing knows shrinkage is a thing, so I had to improvise here. It's not the most ideal method, but it worked. I pressed some sticky tack onto the printed chain, applied Vaseline on it, poured in transparent resin and cured it. I used transparent resin so it would fully cure without leaving uncured spots. After that, I sanded off the excess and glued it in place, without risking it sticking to my fingers. For this model, I wanted to stick closer to the game's original color palette, rather than the 3D artist's interpretation. I started laying in the blue tones in the shadow areas. Keep in mind, since the primer underneath is black, it will naturally dull the color saturation. Then I use a speckling technique, small details that really come together in the final result. From there, I painted the highlighted areas, making sure to hit the opposite sides, where the light would naturally fall. After everything was sealed and fully dried, I moved on to the pastel shading. I didn't use many colors here, mostly just a dark purple to add some warmth. I know she's made out of ice, but I felt this would give her more life. I used some drag queen reference photos and focused on the same areas for the makeup. I went in with a light blue and surprisingly it ended up looking very shiny and metallic. Don't ask me how, I was happy with it, so I went with it.
So as you see, this particular model, she have those designs across her legs and body, which there's no other option. You have to mask it with masking tape or putty. It's good, I mean, there's no other alternative, because I wanted to spray it and I don't want to use a brush because I don't want to leave brush strokes in it, but unfortunately that's the only way to do it, which I don't really like it. I try to avoid that as much as possible, because both three options, either it will be masking tape or masking putty, or if you use the masking fluid, they all have their drawbacks. I mean, they're prone to paint stripping. Sometimes you spray and some of the paint, if it's thinned a lot, it can escape and go underneath, so it's always a hit and miss with these things.
For the designs on her body, I wanted more color variation, not just blue everywhere. I used pink metallic to add some color and shine, since she looks like she's wearing an armor. Quick tip: whenever you're masking parts, always make sure that everything else is covered. Overspray is real and you'll only notice it once you remove the tape, and that's never a fun moment. For the fabric on her body, I went with a pearl white, pretty straightforward. I masked everything and started painting. I also mixed in a white metallic because the pearl alone was a bit too transparent and I needed more opacity. Now, this is where the fun begins. The fabric pieces were printed in a transparent resin. Yes, I know, they yellowed a bit, but I didn't really mind since I knew I was going to use blues and greens, and I figured the yellow would actually help the overall result. I sprayed pearl white from one angle, then I hid the opposite areas with a transparent teal color, leaving some parts unpainted. The goal was to create a flowing color effect. And to finish it off, I added just a tiny bit of pink metallic. For the hair, I followed a similar approach. I painted the head with a metallic teal. Unfortunately, my phone died while I was recording and I didn't notice. Shame on me, but these things happen. For the rest of the hair, I started with an opaque teal and gradually transitioned into a transparent green color. Since the piece was hollow, the opaque color helped hide the supports inside. There was no way I was gonna print the entire hairpiece as a solid, so I had to improvise. Once all of that was done, I moved on to the metallic details. The breastplate and the earrings and other metallic elements were painted using gold and chrome colors. Side note, if you're ever going to use chrome paint, let it dry completely and do not touch it. That stuff takes forever to cure. And of course, we can't forget the snowflake on her hand. This part was pretty straightforward, just clear gloss, transparent white, and in the middle a darker blue towards the center, and we call it done. After that, I painted the eyes. Looking at the render, she has a very friendly demeanor. Mine, on the other hand, ended up looking like she has a full resting bitch face, and honestly, I kinda love it. The render doesn't have much eyeliner, but since this is a more mature game, I felt eyeliner was absolutely appropriate, and that one changed completely and altered the overall expression. For the eyes, I started with a dark blue circle, added a lighter blue circle inside it, then painted a black dot for the pupil and finishing off with a white dot to represent the light reflection. And with all of that finished, we can officially call the model done.
that concludes our video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something from it. Wanted to try some some effects, especially with her clothes. I want to do that, work on the transitional colors, if that makes sense. As you may know, there is never, or at least in my case, I never worked on a model and never had any issue. There's always something going bad or something goes wrong, and there were times where I just wanted to grab the piece and just smash it to the wall because it could get frustrating sometimes. But it's always best to just take a break, step back, and just let it be for a bit and come back to it when you're a bit calmer. So for next time, soon I'm going to have another video. It's going to be planned for my birthday. It's on the 12th January. It's going to be a project which is very close to my heart, and it came out of nowhere. Hopefully it will reach someone really special in my life, that hopefully it will reach them, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. So don't forget, 12th January I will have the next video coming up. Also, if you're not subscribed, I would really appreciate it if you would follow and share my videos. As I said before, I really would like to grow my channel and get a lot of more followers. So yeah, that's something that I'm working on and hopefully I will achieve in the future. And yeah, if there is anything that you would like to see, or if there's something that you would like me to cover, I mean, feel free to ask in the comments down below. I always like to respond to all the comments when I can. So just knock yourself out and start typing down below. So we made it to the end of the video. Thanks for hanging out with me. I will wish you the best for the end of the year, and hopefully it will be a great next year for you as well. So for now, happy holidays. I will see you next year in my next video. Take care.